Come on, Chiefs fans! The Chiefs are buzzing behind the scenes. Andy Reid and the Chiefs are kicking things off with some bold and unexpected roster moves, focused on getting revenge in 2025. No one saw this coming. But first, hit that like button hard if you think we'll come back even stronger, and if possible comment "My heart belongs to the Chiefs." So, the dust has barely settled after that tough loss in Super Bowl 59, and Kansas City is wasting no time in making big changes. The goal? To come back stronger, faster, and more dangerous than ever. After losing 40-22 to the Eagles in New Orleans and missing out on a historic third championship, the front office is already reshaping the roster to get back on top. And let me tell you, the changes they're making are getting everyone's attention. First, the Chiefs have locked up 11 players on reserve/future contracts. That means they're already looking to the future, bolstering depth and ensuring the roster remains competitive at every position. Some familiar names in the mix: QB Chris Oladikin, receivers Jason Brownlee, Justin Ross, and Tyquan Thornton, and tight end Baylor Cupp. They're also strengthening both sides of the ball with tackle Chukwuebuka Godric, defensive lineman Siaki Ika and Fabian Lovett Sr., and a defensive backfield that now includes Darius Rush, Eric Scott Jr., and safety Dion Bush. But that's not all. With new faces coming in, tough decisions had to be made. The Chiefs parted ways with 7 practice squad players, including linebackers Swayze Bozeman and Cole Christensen, tight end Anthony Ferkser, running back Keontae Ingram, cornerbacks Nick Jones and Steven Nelson, and wide receiver Montrell Washington. These changes show that Kansas City isn't just adjusting, they're making a statement. It's about refining the roster, keeping only the best players, and making sure they have the right pieces for another deep playoff run. Now, here's the real question every Chiefs fan is wondering: what's next for Travis Kelce? At 35 years old, Kelce still has plenty of gas left in the tank, but the retirement rumors won't go away. On his New Heights podcast, he kept things vague, saying, "I'm just kicking everything into the future. I'm kicking every can I get into the future, and I'm not making any crazy decisions." Without a doubt, this is a huge decision not only for him, but for the entire Chiefs organization. If Kelce decides to step away, it would leave a huge hole on offense, both as a playmaker and as a leader in the locker room. On top of that, there's the issue of expiring contracts. The Chiefs made some aggressive moves during their historic three-peat, and now they have some tough choices to make. The salary cap situation will be tight, and the front office will need to be strategic about who they bring back and who they let go. The offseason just got a lot more interesting. So what do you guys think? Are these moves enough to get Kansas City back to the Super Bowl? And how do you feel about Kelce's future? Should he give it another year, or is now the right time to walk away? After a tough 40-22 loss to the Eagles in Super Bowl 59, the Chiefs have been wasted as the team has made roster adjustments. They signed 11 players to reserve/future deals while releasing 7 others. And now, they've made another move, bringing in running back Keontae Ingram on a new deal. This signing shows that Kansas City is looking at all options to add depth as it prepares for another championship run. Ingram, a former 6th-round pick of the Cardinals in 2022, had a brief stint in Arizona before joining the Chiefs' practice squad last season. He has played in 20 career games between the two teams, racking up 62 carries for 134 yards, 1 touchdown, and 8 first-down conversions. While he's not expected to be a major piece of the offense, his return gives Kansas City another option in a running back room that could look very different in 2025. And that brings us to the big question: what will the Chiefs' backfield look like next season? Isaiah Pacheco is still recovering from his leg injury, and with Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine set to hit free agency, Kansas City will need to decide how to structure its running game going forward. Ingram may not be the long-term answer, but keeping him around adds depth and some continuity as the team prepares for next season. Of course, the biggest story in Kansas City right now is the future of Travis Kelce. The Chiefs reportedly gave him a timeline to make his decision, but right now, he's keeping things open-ended. If Kelce walks away, that would be a big change for this offense. So, Chiefs fans, what do you think? Does Ingram have a realistic shot at sticking around? And how do you see the backfield shaping up in 2025? Now, let's get started because this might sting a little. There's buzz around the league that the Houston Texans could be eyeing one of Kansas City's most explosive weapons in free agency. That's right, Marquise Hollywood Brown, who spent last season battling injuries, is set to hit the open market, and Houston could be a major contender to land him. Now, let's break this down. The Texans are desperate for receiver help in 2025. Tank Dell, who is a rising star in their offense, is expected to miss the entire season with a serious knee injury. On top of that, Stephon Diggs is set to hit free agency, which means Houston may need to reload its receiver core for C.J. Stroud. So where does Marquise Brown fit into all of this? Well, according to Bradley Locker of Pro Football Focus, Houston could be targeting Brown as a much-needed deep threat. He pointed out that even if the Texans can bring back Diggs, they still don't have the field-stretching speed that Dell provided. Brown, despite his injury setbacks, still brings elite speed and playmaking ability. And remember, this guy has a 1,000-yard season under his belt. He's a proven threat when healthy. But here's the tricky part for Houston: salary cap space. The Texans aren't exactly rolling in cash, so they'll need to be strategic. They could look for bargain deals, restructure contracts, or make some roster cuts to free up space. If they can do that, Brown could be an ideal fit alongside Nico Collins, giving Stroud two dangerous weapons on the outside. Now, from the Chiefs' perspective, losing Brown wouldn't be a total disaster, considering he wasn't a factor in 2024 due to injury. But let's not forget why Kansas City brought him in last offseason. The Chiefs' wide receiver group has struggled for consistency all year, and Brown should add that deep playability that's been missing. If he's fully healthy in 2025, letting him go to a potential AFC rival could come back to haunt Kansas City down the road. So, Chiefs fans, what do you think? Should Kansas City make a push to keep Brown, or should they let him test the market and focus on improving elsewhere? Now, let's get started because this is a story that's making waves in the NFL. Former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney has been arrested in Douglasville, Georgia, on some very serious charges. According to court documents, Toney was arrested on February 6th after allegedly assaulting a woman and preventing her from calling 911. This is a shocking development for a player who was once seen as a dynamic playmaker in Kansas City. The allegations are disturbing. Reports claim that Toney apparently placed his hand around the woman's throat with enough force to restrict her breathing. The incident left red marks on her neck and even caused her eyes to bleed. That's not all. Court documents reveal that when the woman tried to call for help, Toney apparently grabbed her phone and overrode her voice commands to contact 911, effectively preventing her from contacting emergency services. The incident reportedly occurred on January 14th at a home in Douglasville, about 37 miles west of Atlanta. As a result, Toney is now facing serious legal trouble, including one count of aggravated assault and another count of obstructing or preventing a person from making an emergency call. If convicted, these cartoons could have significant consequences for his career and personal life. For Chiefs fans, this is a disappointing turn of events. Toney was a key part of Kansas City's offense when he was acquired from the Giants, and while injuries and inconsistencies have hampered him, he has had moments of brilliance. Who could forget his touchdown in Super Bowl 57? But now, with his future in the league uncertain, this situation raises a lot of questions about his next steps. So, Chiefs fans, what do you think? Should the NFL take immediate action, or should we wait for more details before passing judgment?